Have you noticed that hardly anyone listens any longer unless it's to people who reinforce what we already believe is true? We live in stony opposition to those who don't agree with our points of view. Conservatives versus liberals, Republicans versus Democrats, city dwellers versus those who live in the country, wealthy versus poor, Christians versus Muslims versus Hindus, those who believe in the vaccine and those who know that the pandemic is a hoax, those who believe in climate change and those who know that that too is a hoax, people who still believe that Trump won the election, and people who know he didn't. The list goes on and on. Each of us has our own sources of information, our own home communities, our own belief systems, and often our own righteously held certainty about what is right and what is wrong, and what needs to be done to fix the challenges we face. How is hanging on to our opposing certainties working out in terms of us solving the problems that face us today? Wouldn't there be a payoff in at least considering what other people have to say? How comfortable are you with people who see the world very differently than you? Are you interested in what they have to say? At the end of this brief program, we'll recommend additional materials to support you in dealing effectively with challenging relationships. Hi, this is Marlena Fiol from Becoming Who We Truly Are, a YouTube show that deepens our understanding of who we are and what's possible for us. If you find value in this program, please give it a thumbs up or click the subscribe button on your screen. It makes a big difference. I'll be talking today about a brilliant and stubborn man who found it very challenging to listen to any opposing points of view. For a deeper look at his life and the lessons he learned along the way, we recommend my memoir, Nothing Bad Between Us, published in 2020, as well as our new historical novel, Called, release date November 2021. The web addresses of each of these are in the show notes below. The man I'm referring to was Dr. John R. Schmidt. Less than 3 weeks out of his internal medicine internship in Baltimore, Maryland, Dr. John made the decision to travel to and care for a community of Mennonites in the remote, nearly uninhabitable Chaco of West Paraguay, South America. A devout Mennonite, John was very certain he knew right from wrong. Roguishly handsome, stubborn, and determined, John had no idea of the challenges he was about to face to both his beliefs and his medical skills. Here's a brief excerpt from our historical novel, Called. Just past midnight on June 7, 1941, John Schmidt boarded the SS Argentina in New York Harbor. 2 years into the Second Great War, Germans had overrun much of Western Europe and had advanced deep into the Soviet Union. Given the threat from German U-boats, and because the U.S. was still neutral, 2 American flags were painted on both sides of the ship's hull. The SS Argentina was fully lit, a blazing vessel carrying 273 passengers, 195 in first class, and the rest down below. The ship's deck shuddered under John's feet. He put down his army surplus duffel bag, worn thin with use, and leaned against the rail as the vessel glided out of the harbor past Bedloe's Island. His jaw tightened as he stared into the churning black water, trying to shut out the excited voices of people around him. Less than 3 weeks ago, he was finishing his medical internship in Baltimore with no definitive plans. And now here he was, traveling to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, an intermediate stop on his way to landlocked Paraguay, where he was to serve as a pioneering doctor. A commotion near the midship stairwell interrupted John's thoughts. He turned from the rail and saw a tall woman emerge from the crowd, her stylish figure contrasting almost absurdly with the two portly men who rushed along behind her. Mesmerized, John watched her glide by not far from where he stood. Her green eyes held his for an instant as she and the two men passed by. John's gaze followed her, and he momentarily forgot his concerns. He'd always noticed pretty girls. On the ship's third evening at sea, John ventured out to explore the upper decks. He entered a stairwell, and there she was again, the stylish, green-eyed woman leaning against the wall in the shadows, lighting a cigarette. The glow of her cigarette revealed her full red lips and perfectly shaped eyebrows. He learned that her name was Anastasia Brighton, and during the next several days, they met for long, animated conversations in the ship's dining room. Anna explained to him that she was an Argentinian and she'd been at Yale for a post-JD after graduating from law school in Montevideo, Uruguay. She was returning home to Argentina to fight the Nazi uprisings there. John told her he was a physician on his way to Paraguay to provide health care for a Mennonite colony. John and Anna soon discovered that they disagreed about almost everything. Here's another brief excerpt. "Miss Anna, I'm going to be a doctor for my people in Paraguay," he said. "For your people?" Anna frowned. "What about the native people in the Chaco that your people have displaced? Will you be a doctor for them?" John's gaze met hers. "I am going to do God's work wherever God calls me to do it." "God's work? What makes it God's work?" Anna arched her brows. She pointed a slender finger at him. "It seems like your kind of people assert that your faith is the right faith and your work is God's work, often without any supporting evidence. Do you ever stop to ask why? I'm returning to my beloved Argentina with 2 other attorneys from Yale to fight the trend toward Nazi support. Like you, Dr. John, I am on an important mission. Only mine is not God's work." On the surface, Anna and Dr. John were nothing alike. In fact, they vehemently disagreed about almost everything. But they shared a passion to make a difference in the world. Neither of them knew how this chance meeting in 1941 would bind them together for the rest of their lives. Have you ever been drawn to a relationship with someone as different from you as John and Anna were from each other? Are you comfortable with people who have viewpoints that differ from yours? What are the benefits of engaging in relationships with people who have beliefs that challenge what you're already certain of? I've learned a great deal from Dr. John Schmidt about finding my own path toward becoming my truest self. But for those of you who are on your own quest to becoming your best and truest selves, my path may not be the one for you. Only you can decide what path best fits your needs. If you found value in this program, please do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button on your screen. It really does matter. Also, please post any comments or questions you might have for me. I am interested and I will respond promptly. For example, how easy is it for you to listen to opinions that are very different from your own? In addition, just so you know, I'll be posting a new episode of this YouTube every Tuesday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. For further information on the challenges of listening to people whose opinions we dislike, we recommend the following resources. First, a TED Talk by Julia Galef on why you think you're right, even if you're wrong. Also, a TEDx presentation by Jay Johnson on how to deal with difficult people. And again, for a deeper look at Dr. John Schmidt's distinctive challenges, as well as his remarkable contributions to our world, we recommend my memoir, Nothing Bad Between Us, published in 2020, as well as our new historical novel called, release date November 2, 2021. The web addresses of each of these are in the show notes. And remember, we are together on this journey.